Today we come to the end of our teaching series on the fruit of the Spirit. You might like to have a look at Galatians chapter 5 verses 16 to 26. The last in the list is self-control, and this is about resisting temptation. When we resist the temptation to do wrong, we're exercising self-control. The Bible shows that when God made the world, he gave to humans free will. He doesn't control us, he gives us freedom. And with the freedom to do as we want, we get to choose whether we live by God's standards or not. Now, God spends a lot of time declaring and displaying his standards, the way he wants us to live. All those laws in the Old Testament, all those stories about his dealings with certain individuals. And of course, the whole example of Jesus. Jesus lived the perfect life, a pattern life for us. Now, I believe that God has placed something of his pattern for life into each of us, and that's why we have a conscience. In his teaching, Jesus summarized all of God's pattern, and he did so like this. He said that people first need to love God, and then people need to love other people in the way that they love themselves. And one of the most common temptations that we all face is to love ourselves more than we love other people. But the most common temptation is to not love God. Self-control is a fruit of the Spirit. It's not so much about what we eat or how much we eat at an all-you-can-eat buffet. It's not so much about what we spend or how much we spend when we spot bargains on the internet down the shops. Self-control as a fruit of the Spirit is about resisting the temptation to live for ourselves more than others, to resist the temptation to live for ourselves more than we're living for God. If we know Jesus' story, we can recall how he was tempted and how he specifically resisted temptations to go against God's pattern for life. And it's with the help of Jesus that we can resist such temptations. All the fruits we've been thinking about will only grow in us if we're working on them ourselves, and the best way to do that is with the help of God's Spirit. As we have free will, we have to choose, and we have to make an effort to discover and to hear the voice of God in our lives. And as we have the Bible, the difficult part is not knowing what he wants of us, but getting around to listening to what he's saying in there. Alongside the Bible, we have prayer given to us, and we've been taught how to pray. We've been given words to pray, the Lord's Prayer. The difficult part is getting around to speaking those words and finding the space and the time to make them good quality. And as well as the Bible and prayer, we have one another. We have Christian fellowship. The difficult part there is rolling out of bed on a Sunday morning and then finding the helpful bits of fellowship that are sometimes hidden away by all that goes on when our church comes together. Self-control is a great freedom, but what comes with it is a responsibility. And I'm convinced that each of us has the ability to ask God for help and to work with him in growing our own character and seeing there the fruit that is love and joy and peace and patience and kindness and goodness and faithfulness and gentleness and self-control. If you'd like to listen to the whole of this series on the fruit of the Spirit, then you need to go to our church website and you'll find an audio recording of the sermons there. We are the Downs Baptist Church in Woodingdean, and hopefully a Google search will take you there, or you can follow the link that I'll put down below. God bless. Bye bye.